Fire, can you hear me? Anyway, I decided to butt in, or rather dick in, as yeah, YouTube censorship be damned. As even I can sense the sound is better now. I decided to pick up my old microphone. Unfortunately, I don't have those thingies in front. But I don't give a Anyway, about the whole um, Article 13. I love the number though. It's a good number. It's my favorite number. And everybody's freaking out. Of course. Of course they are. Anything new and people freak out. Oh, but this is censorship. And to tell you the truth, Google that is should be the main interested in this topic, because I don't know if you have noticed or if they have noticed it yet. What the European Union, I mean, who elected those guys? What the European Union wants to do. And I remember one of their first offices. It was in some second-class street, and there was this guy. It all really started, the whole European Union thing. It started before, of course, but it was called something else. It was really about trade. But then this new idea, let's make the European Union, probably started by agents, like former double agents or agents of when the Cold War. I know it sounds like conspiracy theory, but so far conspiracy theorists have been proved right so many times that it's not even funny anymore. Anyway, trying light. It's coming from underneath, so it gives the horror aspect. Oh, there, as you can see, is my closet. So it actually don't have, it's not really about clothing, although there is some, but there is a lot of material that I use for my exhibitions and such. Yeah, the whole Nation of Yen project and stuff. In this part here are some of the outfits that I actually use, and here and below also as well boots and such. Testing, just testing the sound. Hope it's better. I got concerned, I got concerned because the quality of the sound has been really crappy. Get to the point, Yen. Get to the point. Point being, I remember the first time I've seen, like, it did look like an unemployed guy was trying out his luck. The guy was sitting in a, like, it was a suburban neighborhood here there in Copenhagen, not central at all. And there was this little what could just as well be a shop, this shop space where the weirdest thing, like a obviously petty bureaucrat, was sitting there rather displeased because he had to actually cope with real people. He had to talk with people, and they were selling umbrellas with the colors of the European Union and such like. He was trying to sell the idea, but he was really not tailored for that kind of business. Like, he looked pissed that he had to be there. The impression that it gave to me was that the Cold War, the end of the Cold War, with the fall of the Berlin Wall, a lot of those double agents and all those people who were in the payroll of one nation or the other, they suddenly were out of job. And, they were trying their luck with this crazy idea. They probably got pissed off because they got fired by their former employees. I get into details because I don't know what I'm talking about, of course. But my guess, my gut feeling would be that those unemployed agents were now looking for a new job, trying the free market, as you might call it. And there was this angry. He looked really pissed to be there and having to talk with people. And I was all excited because at those times I used to be excited by everything. And I wanted to talk with him, but he was such in a bad mood I actually lost the will to talk with him. And then he was kind of asking us, "So, are you here to buy anything already?" Or and then I actually went in because I thought it was cool, an umbrella with the European Union flag, so the stars around what would be the round space of the umbrella, if you understand what I mean. And I thought it was cool. I was what, around my 26 years of age, so yeah, kind of 20 years ago or so. So I was pretty excited by the whole idea of an European Union because I back then, and I still think that in order for Europe to survive, they need to stick together because those huge emerging markets, they're going to take over. And Europe was fucked. Let's be honest. At the end of the whole Cold War, like they were they were might still be they were colonies of Russia and the United States. That's sinking. That's basically what the Cold War, what the end of the Second World War left Europe in that such a bad shape that they became colonies of the United States and Russia, which weren't rich back then. But Europe was so flat broken because of that war that from the seat of empires, they became colonies. And that's the harsh reality no European whatsoever want ever to admit. But since I've traveled around, I lived around in several places, I can take the liberty to dare saying such a thing. Which is basically, if you think about it, pretty much factual. Like, let's face it, they were dependent on the orders of the Soviet Union or the United States. Those were the ones dealing the cards, and that's it. Europe is crushed, to be honest. It's crushed. And as the whole immigration influx can show, like it's a fucking disgrace. It's completely out of touch with reality. The rulers of Europe, they live in denial, it seems. But I'm not here to criticize that. There's enough of it to go around the web. But since Google, that should be one of its first main interests, and I believe that they are doing that to milk places like Facebook and Google and YouTube and all those big sites. They're not really interested in the little guys. The little guys, they will, if they dare say something or do something that goes against the establishment, the European establishment in Europe. It's really late and I'm really tired. Just testing the sound and sharing my thoughts. So as I see it, I'm forced to conclude that this is what is going to happen, and it's odd, really odd. Well, but those companies in the last couple of years haven't seen anything factual actually. Like, they're just dreaming big now. They have their crazy ideas and they are really trying to push it. As you can see now, they're actually incurring in flat out, straight open attempt to subvert elections, and that's a crime in several countries. And I don't know for how long the people like Zuckerberg are going to get away with just throwing money to avoid getting into trouble. Because as soon as the governments sense blood in in the water, they're going to go crazy in those guys. As soon as they realize that they actually hold power over those big corporations, they won't care. They will smash people like Zuckerberg. They're going to take everything from them. And I really have reasons to consider that this is the plan of the European Union with those paragraphs. Now, I'm an artist, I'm a philosopher, therefore I create content. So what's in it for me with all of this? So sure, we can talk ages about things that we do not know really what is going on, because that's in closed staff meetings of those big corporations, right? At the end of the day, I don't know what's the plan there. It seems like they didn't grasp, but they haven't been grasping anything in a long while now. But they haven't grasped that this might be just as well what the European Union is coming after. Their money. You know, give me your money or we will not let you stream in Europe. Why? Why am I even saying, considering that? Well, because that's pretty much what China has been doing with those big corporations like YouTube and Yahoo and Zuckerberg and all those big, massive sites. They said, "Oh, really? You want our billion, over 2 billion now, people market? Well, then we have a set of rules that we need you to follow. And if they refuse, they don't get to stream in those countries, and that's bad for business. So they accept those conditions to release secret, private information about people, uh, anything to get uh, a grab of that Chinese market. And the European Union, being having studied at most of the politicians that are the top of the European Union, have studied at Peking's university. Check Merkel, check Barroso, who used to be the boss for a long time, if he's not already, or still. You know, those big guys in the European Union, the big guys only in the European Union, because otherwise they are just petty politicians. Oh, but Merkel, she's a chancellor. Yeah, still, she sucks. I mean, look what she's doing with Germany. Like, the people are going nuts in the street. It fascinates me that they haven't torn down, they haven't burned the Reichstag for, I don't know how many times they have burned that place. I mean, that they haven't done it yet. Have we reached really the peak in Brave New World philosophy that the people are so entertained that they don't care about power anymore, and history is just bunk, and they are just going to let those bureaucrats steamroll them? Because this seems to be the case, and the people that are protesting, of course the media is not talking, the German media that is not talking anything about what is truly going on in Germany. But I've seen myself in Copenhagen how many people have been protesting in the last years before I moved here. And there's a lot of people protesting against the government, but the media doesn't stream it. You don't know. You don't think that there's anybody in front of for instance, Christiansborg, like the parliament, the Danish parliament. But there are massive protests, massive. You know, I would say tens of thousands, and that in terms of Denmark, that is a population of some million, a few million people. That's a lot. Kids, old people, I've seen that. There's a lot. Anecdotal evidence. Oh, bite me. You know. Go there and check for yourself. So, oh, internet, you kill me. Anyway, what I'm seeing is that the people are very displeased in Europe, that the corporate media in Europe, the media that is sustained by the government, because they are, the government pay, like, you have to pay taxes in Europe to watch TV. The government is going bananas on those people. You know, like they are being taxed, and it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's not a couple of kronas. It's in the thousands. You know, it's insane. It's insane. It's insanity. It's just pure evil. Uh, to make a point of how evil it is, that was a law that was established during the occupation of Denmark by the National Socialists. Do you understand? And the war ended and we won, but those laws of absolute control of the media still rule in Europe, and that's not right. There's something cookie there. This means that there's a lot of money that is being misplaced. And I worked in the university radio. I know that the students, because they ask for the students that work in university radios to work in this chunk of government, because it's basically a, ch- a chunk of the government. It's just another cabinet, because that's where they derive their salaries from. That's where they milk the state here. Um, they are not paid usually. They are not paid. Like they work a lot because they get excited that they are working for the national media, but they usually don't get paid, or there are delays, or it's a lot of trickery. Then they have to sue the radio and TV thing, and it's a mess. Reason why I decided not to work. No, sure, it gives you status, you get a fancy name that you're a part of it, it's good for the CV, but I'm not an idiot, and life has taught me that if you want to survive, you need to have a source of income. A constant source of income would be even better. So it's a waste of time for a guy like me. I don't believe in leaking bullets either. And as you can see, there's a lot of shady bureaucratic things going on right now. But again, and people are freaking out on the web. Oh, it's going to be bad. Oh, no more memes. And not really, not really. One of the things, as much as I love some content that is being created in the web right now, but one of the things that has stifled me in the last 10 years, and I can say 10 years with certainty, because I was pumping. I was being invited for the international exhibitions, Museum of Contemporary Art of Paris and biennales. And one thing that I noticed that really stifled me was the fact that I was creating content for the internet. I was creating ideas for the internet. The whole freedom of speech thing and mocking, and I was trolling before trolling was a thing. I was being an edgelord before edgelord was a thing. If you doubt me, there are articles written about my ideas, and I'm saying ideas, um, at least in 3 languages. So, not written by me, if you understand what I mean. So I can actually back up what I'm saying. So it's definitely not a figure of my imagination when I say something like that, and I wouldn't dare do some crazy thing that is not true in the internet today, because I would be chewed alive and spat out several times over by the main content creators if I ever come become popular in the web. They would definitely try to destroy me, and I don't mean the media, but some of those content creators, because they like drama, for the mere drama. I chatted a little. I met those drama queens that are or were very popular in the web for some time, and I know that drama is their thing. They go for the long. They don't go for the low hanging fruit. They seem to be, as the skeptic community, and some of them do great content. So hashtag not all. Where's my peace flag? Where's my peace flag? Where did I put my peace flag? That, hashtag not all. Okay? I come in peace. This is a parleur flag. Okay? Let's negotiate here. So I don't mean all, obviously. But there are always opportunists, and now the truth is coming out. I'm not the one trashing them. I'm not the one even exposing them. Again, there are several people to expose them because they did what you should never do in the web. They poked at the bee's nest, or rather, wasp's nest. They poked at the people of Paul. They poked with a very short stick the people at 4chan and 8chan and all those chans that are out there, because they thought so highly of themselves that they thought no harm could do, so they did it, and now they're starting to be exposed as hacks, and it's coming. Like, that's the web. That's the nature of the web. You can't really hide anything. Now, seemingly, with those new rules by the European Parliament that will be approved, will have a resounding victory in several corners of the world. And I'm looking at you, China. Then there will be more control of the web, no doubt about that. However, if we seep through the whole hysteria that is currently going on, first, and I tried to Google it, believe me, I tried, I cannot find the article text proper. Like, I found something related to it in the Philip DeFranco show, and I already sent it further to some of my friends that love paperwork to analyze it, because I hate legalism. And he is now sipping through it because he's such a nerd. Love him. But anyway, so soon I'll know into details, and I'm going to discuss what does it really mean, because the only trouble is that he is very ideologically driven and oriented. He loves Chomsky, so you can have an idea that of course there will be bias, because Chomsky is highly biased. So, and it's kind of Captain Hindsight, like platitudes with bias. Like, there is no worse kind of platitudes than the one that comes filled with bias. But anyway, so he is that kind of. So it's going to be interesting, because with a conversation proper, I'll get the real facts from it. But as far as I understood, so far, again, I'm not concluding anything, I'm considering. Because I'm an artist, I'm a philosopher, I studied economics, I studied theology, I studied arts, I studied a lot of stuff. Jack of all trades, master of none. Anyway, which is not true. But as far as I understood, and as I was going to say, before I explained into detail, before I get to the point, so you can have an idea. Usually I do that not to bamboozle anyone, but rather the contrary, so you can know where I'm coming from before I drive a conclusion. So I hope you bear with me if you haven't slept already. So far, in the last 10 years, what has stifled me has been the mediocre, the opportunists. Again, I don't mean all of the people, not in the contrary. I love some of the folks that are popping up. However, let's be honest, the mediocre took over. And not only they took over, they bottlenecked the whole information thing, the whole they try to take over philosophy, they try to take over skepticism, they try to take over analysis and criticism. And the first thing that they did was to try to bottleneck those movements of freedom of speech by not allowing people like me, to speak up. I suffered censorship from the people who were claiming to be pro freedom of speech. Some of them even mocked me. They actually said something when I was talking with them. Of course, never directly, not to cause furore, because they obviously didn't want to cause attention to my channel back then. It's no more. Thank God for that. I did the right choice, because now what's coming is pretty obvious. I would get into probably a lot of trouble. But not because I said anything wrong, but because of all those copyrights. It would just be a headache. They came with oh, somebody's trying to remain relevant. And this, when I heard that mentioned humorously, to someone else, not directly at me, of course not. But, you know, I lived for a long while, and I kind of know a thing about life or two. And then I realized, okay. Then I stopped trying to speak with those people, because I saw what was going on, and it was just going to be a waste of my time. Because, okay, that guy is an opportunist, that guy is a mediocre person who was just in the right place in the right time. They are not going to give the spotlight to somebody else unless they are really forced to, because a person somehow managed to get some good numbers, or you know whatever reason they were offered money or whatever. Because that kind of people usually have a price, and the price is usually very low, as the whole Candid app clearly shows. So if we have censorship of the freedom of expression, of freedom of speech in the web, is thanks for that app made by former workers of Google, who are trying to figure out the mechanics of the talk of freedom of speech and how to censor it. So that's where we get it from, because those idiots, and those who accepted that money are idiots. Didn't know what they were after, and it was pretty obvious, because the whole thing was kind of fishy. But anyway, I understand they were fascinated. Where I come from, we have a say that who never eats sugar. When you eat it, you get dirty. Like, those are not the words proper, and it's not really sugar. It's something else. Like, it's that they used to do that. They don't do it anymore. They used to sell a kind of brown, more fluid sugar. It was really strong, and it tasted really good. I need to find a name for that. Next video I might say the proper, in proper English, how it sounds. It's very easy. Now all you need is translate, and there you have it. So they were offered some money, and they didn't think through, and now we have censorship in the web by bots, because they accepted to be a part of that experiment. Truth be said, that's what it is. The whole Candid thing is about. They didn't realize, some of them didn't realize what was going on. So those people, censored a lot of people. And I've seen it from, I kind of got it, I think I said it before. Now I'm saying it again, why not? From the time they created a rationalist group in Facebook, and they started bottlenecking and deciding who gets to keep what they are saying in the main page, and who is just ignored in a stream of ignore. like of just shouting in the dark in that specific group they were leading. And it's just sad because they killed a lot of good opportunities, they killed a lot of good channels, and I bet some of them are really happy about it. They might think it was some kind of achievement. They didn't know that they were shooting themselves in the foot, because people like me never really go away. I know what I can do because I kind of started the whole freedom of speech and the web thing. I've been doing it for a while, folks. I've been doing it for a while, under several names nonetheless. And it's great for me to see that it's about to come out of the, the cat is about to come out of the bag. So, but not there yet. And we have a lot to come through, and I'm really concerned about what might happen next. However, I'm not here to go paranoid or to conspiracy theory away. What is in it for me? For a guy like me, for an artist, a creative person, someone who cannot stop creating, and the only reason I'm not a billionaire right now is because I just decided to be creative. I can't help it. Not I decided. There's no way around it. I'm definitely not a 9 to 5 guy. So far, what I understood of it, because I can't get the text proper. If somebody has it, please, please send it to me about the Article 11 and the Article 13, because I really need to look at it. Even though I despise legalism, I need to look at it, because as it sounds, by the quality of the hysteria, especially from the people who I consider to be mediocre and opportunist, and I'm not mentioning any names because I'm not here for drama, nor I wish to offend any of those people. Perhaps I'm wrong. And that's not the topic anyway. I discuss ideas, I don't discuss real people. Because of that, I am considering. Funny how the mediocre and the opportunists are the ones squealing about it. And as far as I understood, it's about really like if somebody created content, then nobody else has the right to take it unless, as far as I understood, it's approved by the people. And as it is in radio, when you play music in radio, you have to write a document. When you're a DJ, when you have a radio show, if you put any music or bits and pieces of anything, any material that belongs to any artist, you have to write in a paper for how long, how many minutes and seconds, and the name of, it used to be CDs in the time I was DJ. Um, you have to specify, because those people, at least in Denmark, they will be paid. Do you understand? It doesn't need to be much, but they will get something out of it, which is great. And I actually joined those associations. I am a registered member. I I can do music, and I send to them a material. Like I have a recorded CD. It was my first. It's probably not so great, but it's there registered. It's in their archives. So for me, that part is not a problem. I'm currently registered as an artist. I have number, I have everything. So for me, if I create anything, at least Danish laws and as far as I understood, European laws as well, protect me by default because I'm a registered artist, musician, and all those great stuff, writer, and so on. Uh, yes, I actually am. Even registered in the US. Actually, I'm about to renew it. So there you have it. I'm guaranteed my material safe. And perhaps now that the mediocre, the opportunists, the people who just steal stuff and complain, copyrights are wrong and it's wrong. Look, not everyone wants or is tailored to have a little job from 9 to 5 so they can get some money out of it. Some people can't help but to create. And for the last 10 years, let's face it, my material, my ideas, my writings, my texts, my philosophy, my everything was just taken away, was stolen away by other people who are way better to marketing. Because what those people, and we have YouTube to prove what I'm saying, why does YouTube needs to constantly choose, like change the logarithms? Because there's some people that they suck at creating. They are really horrible at it. However, they are very good, very keen to learning how the mechanics of a logarithm. And as soon as they learn what the logarithms promote, what they put up, they go for that. Even if it includes taking material from somebody else on names and putting it in their videos. Do you understand what I mean? So the logarithm registers, oh, that person is popular, let me put that person up here. So in this way they push a little up. People like me don't care about that. I just like to create. And one of the problems of the modern times is that we don't have patrons anymore, like those old nobility who used to finance the fine arts. You understand? It was a display of status for them if they managed to select artists that were actually good in what they did. This all was corrupted since, I believe, the 50s and 60s. You know, when the galleries kind of took that place and started screwing with the artists, you know, feeding them with drugs, and so they didn't need to pay a salary or anything. Like, it would just get them addicted, and they would die in some beach house that didn't even belong to them, would belong to the gallery owners. Like, picture Van Gogh, you know, who died in misery while his brother not only uh, to see a pathos. I'm not saying it's the case, but consider this. It's very strange that a brother would marry intentionally the woman that you're madly in love with, and then allegedly take care of you by leaving you in misery, so you would paint for him, and he would withhold all the rights of the paintings. And then if you die a tragic death, you know, suddenly, his painting starts selling like mad and for very high prices. That was before the 60s, way before the 60s, but that indicates a certain pathos that some people picked up. And to put it short, to put it briefly, the reason why Picasso had to do sculptures was to actually get some money out of it, because he was silly enough to sign a contract when he was young, uh, as a poor artist, um, that would give him a little salary for delivering, I think, 3 uh, works of art per year or something like that. I don't know, I don't remember how many, but for a certain amount of paintings, he would get a small salary, which was great for a poor artist. But he couldn't change the contract somehow, because those people are powerful. They have a lot of money and lawyers and everything. And yeah, he couldn't sell paintings. Do you understand? Only the gallery could sell his paintings, and they would give him that salary so they could sell his paintings. So they catapulted him to success, and they got all the money. He didn't get anything really out of his paintings, so he started doing sculptures later on in life. He first became communist to see if the communists could help him. Apparently they couldn't. So then he started making sculptures and crappy paintings to sell, like to give it away. Because if you see Picasso in the beginning of his career, how good he was, and then the whole cubism thing, that is just, I personally believe, I don't care what other pseudo-intellectuals might say, um, it's just, cubism is just crap. It's just decay. It's just, I'm pissed with the world. He's an artist, he's expressing how he felt about that gallery and the suckers that bought that crap, if you understand what I mean. He wanted to screw the gallery. The gallery, well, they're good to sell. You understand? Some people are good for some things, some people are good for other things. That doesn't mean that Picasso was a loser. It just means that the gallery was good to sell and Picasso was good to create. So yeah, I'm talking about that. You can check it. I don't need to prove anything because it's out there. When people say out there, by the way, they mean that there's plenty of material about it. All you need to do is just go and check for yourself. I'm telling you, Picasso had a contract when he was a poor artist, and he was fooled into signing a contract for life, apparently, that he couldn't get out of. So he had to do something else, and he started crapping in his paintings, literally, because he was pissed off at the gallery. And there are several artists today that are in the exact same situation that Picasso was. So if you wonder why we have so much nonsense in modern art, now you know why. Some of those artists most certainly are not happy about it, and some of them still die in some beach house that in truth belongs to the gallery owners, and actually they are just letting the guy live there so they can be tax exempt or something like that. You know, there's the whole bureaucracy that artists don't like and don't care about, and those very greedy people know that, and they take massive advantage of. This set of laws, as far as I understood, and I need them all because I can't find them anywhere, guarantee the creator of the material to have something out of it. Just as I said, happens to radio. The musicians get something out of it. So let's say I like doing memes, and I have done a considerable amount of them. Will there be something for me in, in all of this? Now I know some people are petty and they're probably not going to propagate my memes either. I don't care. The sole fact that I get to keep my memes, my creations, my art, something I post on the web, I put on the web, that came from me and from me alone, is awesome. As far as I understood. Because mind you, I'm not a mediocre person. I know I can rely on my art skills and my creative skills. I might even have a chance. I was doing well, but in the last 10 years, all my ideas were simply hijacked. So suddenly I had a low. I stopped being invited to certain events. I stopped, and it doesn't have to do with trying to remain relevant. This is not what it is about. It's actually a very cruel sentence. It's really living off your art, okay? Living off your art as a artist, as a writer, as a philosopher, and that was taken from me. Now, actually, that those things came out, and I'm starting to realize the sizable gap or the real reasons of what went through. Because those people, they knew about my existence, the people I'm criticizing. They knew it because there were even a couple of videos done about me where they actually try to put me down with everything they have. It's crazy, 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 crazy. But here I am. Now they're starting. They messed with the wrong people and they're coming after them. And, who knows what will happen next. Because they are the ones actually trying to remain relevant. So it's interesting to see the unfolding of everything. And this is why you shouldn't be mean to other people in your way up, because you'll meet them when you're going down. And I'm not vengeful. I'm just considering the fact I've been prejudiced. I lost. Uh, I might have lost. I don't know if it was that. It's just a guess. Seems to be. I'm about to find out. Now that there are going to be rules about that you can't steal anymore from artists. Oh, but copyright, the big companies, the big companies. Look, you don't need to be a big company to create your own material. Do your own thing. If you are that good, if you want to remain relevant, you should do your own thing, right? I mean, be creative. You're claiming you are creative, so be creative, my friend. It's just interesting because, I have seen those cycles go on in real life for a long time. Now I see it unfolding in the web. Oh, but there will be censorship in the web, and there was always censorship in the web. I know for sure because things that I did and I wrote and I had websites about, I can't find it. I can't find it in the archive, the internet history or whatever you call those places, internet archive or whatever. I can't find it. It has been deleted. It has been deleted. So they have deleted the internet. Oh, there's nothing that goes away in the internet. You're wrong. They are doing it. They can do it, and they will do it. It's inevitable. If they want to wipe out the entire internet and start over again, they can, and they will. If they want to make up content and say that it was you who did it when you didn't, some really nasty things, they can do it. They have that power. They have the skills, they have the hackers. They can do anything they want. What people don't seem to be willing to cope with is the fact that the internet was created, as far as I know, I can be wrong, for military purposes. And it might not be just communication amongst their own. If you understand what I mean. The same thing with those people that use Tor, like what is that really? That appliance that technically let you go unknown in the internet. Well, unknown or not, somehow they found out who owns, who owned Silk Road, and they went after him. With now, it has come out that it was false allegations. He didn't try to hire anyone to kill anyone. He didn't try to. He was not doing anything at that level of illegality. It was really about selling dope, which I don't recommend. However, that's what he should have been busted for, but they needed something heavier. And with that, the United States government, and I think the EU and the UK at least, they got a fat hold of a lot of bitcoins. They only approved Bitcoins to be traded internationally after they busted Silk Road and they got millions in Bitcoin. You understand what happened? Look, if the military had a software that they were using secretly and they didn't want anyone to know, they wouldn't just toss it away after some time. Come on. But I understand people think that they are smarter than the military. They think that they are smarter than people who are trained to be smart. Fair enough, but I'm just saying don't have any illusions. I'm not saying that they still control, but I'm considering the possibility because how did they bust everything? They go after, they catch anyone they want. Okay? As they say several times about those white slavery rings that pop up in the deep web every now and then, they let them go on with that for weeks and months before they bust in. Do you understand? So as far as I can understand, I can be wrong, but as far as I understood, they have absolute control over those, over Tor, over the deep web, over the web. Why? Because they created it. It's that movie, The Matrix. In there they are gods. I have reasons to conclude that based in what I've seen so far. A lot of coincidences, folks. I'm just saying, too many. If there is no thing as a coincidence, just consider it for a minute. You know, and that's one of the reasons, of course, because another reason is that I'm not really interested in anything illicit. However, that I don't check into this Tor thing. I don't buy the whole thing. I don't believe in any of that. Especially if it is done by government or military organization, because they keep track of everything. They have to. If they don't, somebody gets fired. You understand? So they have to keep track. And I doubt that they would just toss a software used for spying on people just like that. So you could just grab and start using it yourself. That's childish to believe. I mean, don't be fooled. I thought, that's pretty much it. When they busted the guy from Silk Road and just took his bitcoins, and then right after that, another coincidence. You see how many coincidences they decided to approve Bitcoin as a virtual currency, so you can actually exchange. Why? Because now they had millions of it. They probably profited a lot in the sudden rise of Bitcoin, and now they are probably the cause of its decay because they probably sold all of it, so the price started. You're doomed. I'm sorry to say, and hey, it hurts me too. I was developing a BitCurrency. Now I really am very skeptical about it. Plus, what it was being used for. Let's be honest. Probably, not saying it is, but probably laundering money. So illicit activities, and I really don't want to be a part of that. Why? Because I suddenly am accused of a lot of things I haven't done by governments, and you can't really put up against governments. I'm sorry, you can't. If you doubt me, just check Assange. They're not even being allowed to use the internet currently by the Ecuadorian embassy. Then he's a prisoner, okay? He is in England and he is in prison. He can't get out. He cannot get out. If he gets out, he goes to another prison. But he's locked in. Call it residential. There's a legal name for that. Domicilian jail. I don't know, like what they did to Pol Pot, kind of. Although poor man compare Assange to Pol Pot. No. But you get the point, right? Like his sentence was to live in an embassy, and he can't get out. And I really, to be serious, I don't know why, because so many people do much more than he does, and they just get away with it. Like, it's crazy. But they decided to pick on the guy. If, if he's not part of the problem as well, if he's not just an informant to see what kind of people contact him, who comes to congratulate or to show their support for him or whatever, so they can take notes. I'm very skeptical about the internet right now. Very skeptical. I don't believe that we have true freedom. Again, look, I checked things that I did in the websites I had. It's not there. It's gone. I didn't ask to remove it. It's gone. It's like it never existed. And I had some good stuff, some funny stuff. It's gone. Poof. Nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. And then I started also to like connecting the dots and realize, okay, so don't be surprised if some years from now you can't find anything at all in the web, or at least most of the things that you might find today that you're not looking for, because there's no rush, right? But I'm telling you, it might just go away. They might decide, okay, off with that. That's not part of the internet, and down it goes, because it's just really data stored in some computer somewhere. It can easily be destroyed. Easily. It doesn't belong to you. You are not the one who have the the the, the records of it. It's not being stored in your computer. And your computer will be broken in a couple of years anyway, so then it's gone. And I know that by experience. So it's gone and it's not coming back. You lost a lot of stuff. So if you really want to save, put it in paper, really register. Find a way that you can keep your creations as your creations. In that way, it doesn't go away. Unless they break into your house or vault or whatever and just take it away, which they won't. They won't, because they are not that keen. They're also a bit lazy. And if you're not a big fish, they don't have any reason to do so either, so you'll just be ignored. But consider this, and I'm not being paranoid, I'm not into conspiracy theories here, I'm really not. Those are all things I've seen happen. The Silk Road bust and the millions that suddenly went into the hands of the United States government, and suddenly Bitcoin was approved because now they were sitting over a pile of cash that they could profit and trade and negotiate with. They probably found a lot of illegal activities that were going on thanks to that. And Tor was obviously not reliable, because they busted the guy and they just destroyed him with force. Now, look, it's out there now. The allegations were false. But hey, nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn. Another example is the guy that they put in jail for a crime he didn't commit. The whole Benghazi thing. The YouTuber, they put a YouTuber in jail. So if you think that this thing of Alex Jones being blocked and banned from the site is something completely new, they were already trying it. What, 5 to 10 years ago. Because that guy, he got put in jail. He got put in solitary confinement for over 8 months for something he hadn't done, with no trial. That YouTuber. Well, it was truly about a celebration of 9/11 by the local militias that got a bit out of control, and they killed an American ambassador for what, the first time in history. And what have the US done? Nothing. They didn't punish the responsible. At least so far they didn't. And that poor YouTuber spent 8 months in jail. So this is what I say, this is what I mean when I say I'm concerned about YouTube as I'm concerned about what's coming next, because I know it can get worse, because it was already worse. It already got worse once. Governments, today and ever, they have the power to arrest you on false allegations. Okay? And nowadays, they can be very convincing. They can come with evidence regardless of the fact that you didn't do anything. And the internet is a fantastic tool for them because they get to decide. Data can be manipulated, numbers can be changed, and suddenly you have a completely different situation from what really happened. You know, an innocent YouTuber that was just doing a stupid video that nobody even watched suddenly goes to solitary confinement, no trial, for as long as they wanted to keep him there, and they kept him there, and he was released. They didn't give a damn. No compensation, nothing. He was flat broke, and now he had a criminal record. He cannot really get a job. So let that sink in. And I'm not saying stop doing everything in the web, leave the web. No, no, no. Do what you want, but I'm just considering the odds, you know, based in the facts we have so far. Do your material, do your thing, keep pushing. You know, if you're not doing anything wrong, there's no harm on you. But beware that at any time the internet can go away, the data can go away, or it will never go away. Bullshit, nonsense. If they want it to go away, it will go away. If they want to charge you for that, they will. How do I know? They charge for TV, goddammit, in Europe. Do you understand? They can do anything they want. So it's up to you to put up a fight, to gather enough people, and the street protest doesn't help anything. Okay, they have solutions for that too. They won't kill you, but nobody will never know. So you have to use your head, or listen to people who have their head in the place and follow them. Actually, one thing that we are taught nowadays is to criticize everyone, never to trust anyone, especially authorities or whatever. But fact is, you know, that's another lie, because if you want to succeed, you need to follow someone, and someone with a vision, and someone who knows what they're doing, because you can't do everything on your own. Let's face it. Or you might try, but it's going to be really hard, and most of it is going to be a waste of time. So, third part, third part, third part for everything makes life much easier. So you need others if you really want to put up a fight against the government of Europe or the US or whatever. You know, you are not going to do that alone. I did it alone and I didn't fight anyone. I just wanted freedom of speech. I wasn't even aware there was a problem with that, to be honest. I wasn't aware. I was sure I was living in a free society. But what we have is not a free society. Ooh, so many things. But still, it's just because I just realized that I had 10 years as a creative figure that was stolen from me. Because I was very active in the web. And things were just stolen. And people now, they are speaking about things that I spoke around 10 years ago. They are now touching the topics, and they are making several videos about it. About the very things that I talked about 10 years ago. As something new, as something completely fresh. As if they came out with all of this. And that, I'm not saying everything, but there are things that I know I said 10 years ago that are now being said by others as if they came with that. And that's kind of problematic for me, because I could be earning a living out of that, and now I cannot, because some people are good at stealing my material, stealing my ideas, stealing everything from others, and making it popular somehow. They're good at selling. They're not good at creating. They are not good at coming with ideas or discussing topic properly, but they are very good in copying and stealing and selling what they have. Fair enough, but let's see what goes now. That apparently they are trying to stifle those people. Um, so you see, I'm not saying, oh, hooray, no, 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 because that's definitely going to bite all of us somehow. But again, I cannot say it for sure because somehow I cannot get hold of the articles per se. So I don't even know the full scope. What are you blabbering about? Well, the things I've seen so far that others are talking about. But nobody posts the fucking articles. Why nobody posts those articles? They talk about it, they show some footage even about it, but they don't really put a link to it. Why there are no links? Why are no links? Think about that. Well, I talked a lot. Don't know if anybody is even listening to me, but I had to say it. You know, don't believe that the internet is forever. Perhaps, who knows? It was just they just wanted enough material so they could have us. Who knows? So they could, have we broken enough laws already that they just make up as they go? Do you understand? Like, who knows what's coming? Like, Orson Welles said something about it. Aldous Huxley also said something about it. Several others tried to warn about something that we do not know enough about. I just hope this is not the case, but let's see what happens. I find it odd, but fashions are fashions, and rich people usually follow fashions. That so many people are building bunkers nowadays, but the billionaires. Um, but they have a lot of money. What can you do? At some point, you will eventually do something very eccentric. But because I've seen that things disappear in the web, so at least I can find it. So it's kind of cookie. I know there's something coming and they are drive testing several people. Take that from someone who happened to have had one of the first accounts from Gmail and Google per se. Okay, I had Gmail when you had to be given by someone who knew someone from Google. So what's the purpose? Do you understand? There's always a purpose, especially with companies. So don't believe you have absolute freedom in the web because I don't know what it's going to be used for. And I don't know enough, so I'm not going to invent any conspiracy theory here. Just saying, keep your eye open because before things get better, they tend to get very worse. But those laws in the European Union, I'm not sure they are all bad, at least not for creative people. Oh, only the big corporations are going. No, no, not based in the laws that I know as an artist. As an artist, you have a lot of leverage. But hey, I have studied hard to be an artist, so it didn't come fresh-handed. Okay, I was one of the first of my group, so I know what I'm talking about. And no, I'm not bragging. Those are facts. I just don't rely on false uh, humility. Do you understand? And to give you a better scope, from whom you might be listening to, because I'm not popular. I'm not popular, and I'm not here to be popular. But sure, it would be nice, if I could get anything out of it. I never cared about doing that because I never had a family before. Like now I have a family, so now you start getting worried about those things, and my hair is getting gray. And I'm an artist, social like benefits, retirement, like what's the name of it? Pension? Oh, I wish. But So I got to be wise, you know. I'm in my last runs, you know, last turn, so I need to go to leave something behind for my kids, if not for me. So yeah, I guess it's all.